So, how's it going?
Well, it's going okay.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we talked on the phone a little bit this week, just kind of like talking about your story and what's going on in your life right now. Did you find the office okay today?
Yeah.
Was the directions were pretty clear?
Yeah, very clear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My receptionist, Marsha, she can be kind of a little bit vague sometimes, so I'm glad she came through.
No,
so.
she was fine.
Awesome, cool.
Fine, yeah.
So I know we talked some this week about like what I said, but what exactly would bring you in today to our office?
Well, my son's in the hospital. Carl's in the hospital,
Carl,
and he's waiting for his heart. And they're coming to me and saying that he has a lot of behavioral problems, and they want me to take care of him and be a part of that. And there's people coming in all the time. I have different nurses every day.
Right.
Different doctors are coming in, and it's really frustrating because there's no consistency. I'm the consistency, but everybody's giving me all these different messages. So I just really want to sort of talk to you about that so that I can figure out how I can be there for Carl and maybe help him with these behavior problems. I mean, I'd be scared too if I was waiting for a heart. So I'm trying to be the best kind of mom I can, but I'm really at a loss about how I can be there for him.
Right. So, but if you wouldn't mind explaining a little bit more, I know we talked, but for his heart condition, what does that exactly look like? What's he in the hospital like right now? What's going on?
He's in the hospital waiting for a heart, and he's got a Berlin heart, so it's a plastic. It's literally his heart is outside of his body, and it's his lifeline. I mean, he even says that this is my lifeline. And when he gets pissed off at me, he moves it around, or if he gets pissed off at the nurses, he just does stuff that could literally kill him. And I don't know. I know it's scary, and I get scared, and I yell at him, and I don't know. It's frustrating.
Gotcha. Okay. So he is on the list to wait for a heart.
Yeah.
Clear. Okay.
We're waiting. We've been waiting for 6 months.
Wow. So he's been in the hospital for 6 months then,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Wow. So I understand that you're there for him. What about? Could you go into more detail about his father?
The only time he's there is when he has to be there. And he has to be there when we make decisions, medical decisions, because he's his father. But he's never been there.
Right.
And he only comes when he has to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I want to say about him.
Understand. Totally understand. And I'm curious, how do you feel about everything that's going on? I know you're discussing what Carl's going through, talking about his father some. How do you feel internally about everything that is kind of seems to be closing in?
I feel like it's all closing in.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So is there just a lot of pressure that you're feeling from just everything that's going on, or is it compounding? Is it staying stagnant? What does that look like?
It just waiting and not knowing and trying to be the right kind of mom for him so that he can stay alive till the heart comes, and then we feel guilty because somebody has to die for us to get a heart, and it's a lot, and I want to. I just feel judged. I feel judged by everybody, and when he gets pissed off and angry about his situation, which is normal, and I want to calm him down, but then I don't know what to do. I don't know.
I understand, like, you're feeling a lot of that, like you said, like, kind of closing feeling, a lot of judgment, a lot of things that are really kind of hard. It seems like a lot of opposition. If you wouldn't mind me switching gears
Sure.
to kind of like look at this from a different perspective, and this is not to be insensitive, this is just a kind of what if question.
Yeah.
But if let's say tonight you go to sleep and you just have a really nice sleep, you wake up in the morning and like a miracle has happened. What would that look like in your life? Like a miracle would happen in this situation.
He'd have his heart.
To have his heart. So that would be basically the main gist of the miracle. Could you
Yeah.
elaborate a little more on that, or?
Well, he'd have a new heart. I mean, I know a lot of things come with that, but, you know, he would have a second chance, you know, and he's only 10,
Mm-hmm.
9, almost 10. And, you know, he gets a chance in his life.
Gotcha. Okay. Can you tell me, kind of like if you had to look at, let's say, you know, like people always talk about out of 10 certain things.
Uh-huh.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how do you feel about how much hope do you feel towards him receiving that heart?
I'd say right in the middle, 5.
5. It's kind of like
Yeah, it's, I
both
don't
back and
know.
forth.
I don't, you
Right.
know, we don't know.
Understand. Can you tell me a little more about? You had mentioned on the phone Carl had been like misbehaving.
Yeah.
And you kind of described like him like playing with his heart and like kind of like, you know, playing with his life in the same sense.
Right.
Is there what have you kind of looked at towards like how to kind of manage Carl within like the medical room? Like what are some positive things you've seen him like? Because you said he was struggling with behavior problems, which is originally why you contacted us long time ago. But then those have been alleviated. Originally, whenever he had his behavior had changed, what did you do to positively impact his behavior to recede back to normal before the heart, I guess, like situation?
Oh, before
Yes,
this
ma'am.
all
Yeah.
happened?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's really active.
Mm-hmm.
He loves sports.
Right.
He plays soccer, and I mean that's his thing, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
he's very active, young boy. So I would say sports.
Sports, right? Okay, sweet. Yeah. So whenever he played sports and stuff, like, did that kind of bring everybody together, kind of as like you and him, like in like kind of so like you could bond over?
Yeah, absolutely.
What position did he play?
He was a goalie.
He was a goalie. Oh wow, that's really cool. Yeah. Personally, my son plays soccer as well, and he really enjoys it. He's actually a forward, so he's a little bit of the crazy guy that gets in the mix, but I totally can resonate with that. I love watching him play. So whenever he was kind of like originally struggling with issues, and then he kind of came back from that, if you will, that was kind of like through sports was a positive thing. Could you think of any other positive outlet besides sports that maybe would kind of alleviate his negative emotions while he's in bed for this long period of time? I understand it's very difficult, but is there anything else that could maybe even enhance his mood? Because I understand you're going through a lot.
Yeah, well,
fully
I
grasp
think
that.
video games. I mean, since he can't be physical, I think video games help him.
Maybe like FIFA, maybe a soccer
Yeah,
video game.
yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. Cool. So yeah. And also like just another kind of like 1 to 10 kind of just give me a good perspective of things. On a scale from 1 to 10, whenever you're kind of like seeing how the doctors are helping him, how does from the perspective of them actually alleviating the situation rather than causing issues, how do you feel towards them, like in the sense of positivity wise, like of them actually helping rather than hindering his stay there?
Well, I couldn't. I mean, without them, he would have died. So
Right.
they've saved his life. I mean, they really are my miracle.
Oh, so they're kind of like a part of the miracle that we had originally talked about too.
Yeah.
So even if it was like the miracle would happen, which we're hoping will, obviously, that they're actually active part of that, even though they can be kind of a stressor at times as well.
Yeah. So I guess I'm in the right place.
Okay, so that is cool. So you are in the right place. That's really that's exciting to hear. Why do you besides him just getting a new heart? How do you feel that the hospital is like the right place in the sense of for you, because you do obviously spend a lot of time with your son and stuff? Do you feel like that's a place of hope or that's more of a place of hindrance?
Both.
Both. Can you expand more on that?
I think it's a place of hope in the sense that that's the only way I'm going to, get him a heart.
Right.
but it's a hindrance too because it's like you're under a microscope. Everybody's watching everything that you do.
Mhm.
There's always different people coming in who have different agendas, different ways of seeing things.
Right.
We're in different moods, and they just see one little piece of our life at a time, and then they all talk, and then I'm in the room 24/7,
Right.
and so it's hard.
And while you're visiting me, you say you're there like all the time. Who's there right now? Since you're here, obviously.
His grandmother,
What's her name?
Claire.
And how has Claire maybe helped aid you in the situation as well and alleviate some of the stressors?
She's a wise lady.
Mm-hmm.
She helps me a lot, and she's very spiritual, and she brings us, she likes to read the Bible, and she'll pray with us, and talk to Carl about different things in the Bible that can help him, pray with him.
Mm-hmm.
And she also gives me a break, so she understands
totally.
that it's hard, so she's cool.
So would you say maybe she's a part of the miracle in a sense too? Like she's really kind of adding to the solution rather than the problem, as some people have kind of come to that. Okay, well I have one more question, or another question to kind of add to this in the same realm. I guess my thoughts are simply how has she impacted you in a positive way as well? Because you seem to really be very excited about his grandma. Has she maybe helped you through similar things? Like you said something about being spiritual. Can you kind of unpack that a little bit?
Well, I'm spiritual. She's religious, and she's into the Bible and stuff like that, and I'm not. But I mean, she's a rock. She's been through everything. She's the person that's held the family together.
Right.
And she helped raise me, and
Mm-hmm.
My parents were never around, so she's amazing.
Right. No, it sounds like an amazing woman. Totally. Yeah. So basically, my last thing I'd like to say right now is just that as her being an amazing woman, and you said she's kind of the rock that kind of put your family together. And you seem to really, at least from my perspective, be attracted to how she is to your son. Would you say that maybe her religious spirituality has a lot to do with that, or would you say that that's kind of a source of hope for her and your son, or?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right, so now we're gonna fast forward to the end. We would unpack that more, but obviously we gotta go to the end. Anyways, all right, I'll go. So, we were talking a lot, obviously, kind of just to summarize, your son's in a hospital. He's obviously going through a very stressful time, as are you and your family. His Berlin heart is obviously temporary. He's been acting up. He's got some issues with kind of how he obviously feels towards waiting and just being stuck there for 6 months. And you had said too previously that you're kind of feeling a lot of stress from being there all the time, kind of in a closed space. You feel like a lot of things are surrounding you. You said kind of encompassing you, just. And also you said that some of the staff are looking at your son as if this heart thing is maybe you had even used the words a mistake to put him on the list. You felt like they were kind of communicating that to each other behind your back. Obviously, a lot of stress is going on in your life as well, and just simply being the mother there. But I'd really like to focus on kind of one kind of really cool thing you talked about is we had mentioned I'd use kind of a miracle question earlier, but you seem to really obviously enjoy that. But also I thought it was interesting. You kind of built this miracle as we talked, and you kind of were describing it. One of the two things I thought were really positive in that was one was your son being joyful by a stance, and you being joyful as well. I think two things we could really highlight, in my opinion, are his grandmother really impacting you in a positive way and made you smile even, as well as making him just feel really at hope. So I'd say maybe two of the things before we meet next time, just to maybe kind of not homework, but just kind of unpack on your own. I would really challenge you to look at what makes you so having confidence within his grandmother, and what really brings you peace in that situation, and how that's helping your son. And two, I would encourage you also to kind of maybe focus on the solution with your son, kind of on a daily basis, like step by step. You said one of the things that maybe could help at this time would be sports. Obviously, he can't leave, but we kind of like made jokes about like a video game that could be sports related. Maybe that would be like kind of a small step in the right direction. I would just want to know your thoughts on that, like those two things.
Yeah, that sounds doable, definitely.
Yeah. What do you think, lastly, would be the solution, kind of like end result of like looking towards like your next faithful step in this process? Besides what we talked about, is there anything else that you really would want to share?
Just trust
Trust in
that it's going to happen.
the heart will come. Yeah, cool. Well, you will be in my prayers, and
Thank you.
I look forward to our next time of talking. I hope that this helped and that we can continue to kind of dialogue about what's going on. So.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, now we're going to do like the discussion sections. I'm going to flip this around.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say you did a great job with eye contact. You seemed very attentive, like you were really focused in on what she was saying, which was good. I could tell you were really trying to use the solution-focused questions, which is good. I could hear that in what you were saying. And really helping her see where there is hope, like in Carl's grandmother, and acknowledging where there's joy, because there is obviously a lot of sorrow in her life. So those were all things I thought you did really well. A few things that I noticed maybe for improvement next time. I think it's great to highlight the joy, but also to acknowledge a little bit more the pain and the sorrow, and before rolling on to next questions, just so she knows that you are empathizing and feeling with her. Since it seemed like a lot of the reason why she came was because she was feeling so heavy and weighed down by all of that. And then I think that it's an easy tendency to jump to making conclusions for her, but kind of letting her draw her own conclusions through the questions that you ask. But I mean, it was clear that you were tracking with her through the things that you were sharing and saying, so good job.
Yeah, you did a really good job, like relating to her. There's a point where you mentioned like, oh yeah, my son plays soccer too. And it felt like although the situation is fabricated, it felt like a real moment of like relation to. I don't even know what your fake name was supposed to be, but it was a good job relating. And then another thing that you did really well is weaving the miracle question, just the whole focus through the entire thing. So whenever something would come up, like you mentioned a miracle, and you jumped on it, like you knew that it was part of your focus, and you weaved that through the entire thing. So that was very good. You stayed with that. A point of improvement. I mean, you did a pretty good job, but as far as my small understanding of, but you use the words kind of and obviously very frequently. So it just kind of obviously just differentiating the words that you use. But other than that, it was great. I mean, completely understandable through those words. So.
Awesome.
All right, cool. So now, okay.